Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting, Jim Goodman. It's Claiming Crown Day at Gulfstream Park. These are always good betting races, and no change in that this year with a lot of big fields and horses coming in from different areas of the country. So it makes for a tough handicapping challenge, but you should get rewarded well. Jim, we'll start with the eighth race. We're going to take a look at the late pick 4. The Claiming Crown races actually start with race 3. But we're going to look just at the late pick 4 for our podcast, and the Canterbury's on the turf at 5 furlongs, 3-year-olds and up. And who did you like?
Yeah, this reminds me of the Keeneland meet where horses are coming from all over. They never run against each other, and they're all thrown together. And it's I think when I printed out the PPs, it was 44 pages for 11 races. So it's you got a lot of history here to look at, so it's not hard to handicap, at least with the information you got available. They are hard to handicap, though. I went with Do the Roar here. We're going to do the pick 4, so that would be my top choice in the pick 4, the 7 horse. He's 4 for 8 at Gulfstream and at the distance. Tossed the washout last out at Gulfstream West, and he's 3 for his last 4, including wins over a lot of the foes he's facing today. Bottle Rocket, the 10, exits an allowance race at Keeneland. Back to Kieran McLaughlin and shortens up to 5 furlongs, 2 for 6 at the distance. Delta Bluesman, the 9, is a distance specialist, but 0 for 6 at Gulfstream. But you never toss Jorge Navarro at Gulfstream. He's like a 26% trainer. And then El Botas, the 2, was the other one who ran a half length behind the top pick at Gulfstream on the 19th of September. Hasn't won at Gulfstream, though, in a long time, 1 for 11 lifetime, but always in the money and around the. You got to go with him if you like Do the Roar. So that would be my 4 horses in the pick 4. I would, if I did an inter-race wager, I would take Do the Roar on top of Bottle Rocket, Delta Bluesman, and El Botas. So I would go 2, 7, 9, 10 in this race.
Yeah, I like the 7 too. That last race is a shit you can kind of draw a line through it because it was washed out, but it has the look of just a prep for this day anyway. And the trainer really has good numbers second off this kind of layoff. I like the 4 wins on the Gulfstream Park turf course, so I like Do the Roar a lot in here. The ones you mentioned, El Botas, the 2, Delta Bluesman, the 9, I like both of those. McElroy, I threw in there. Don't really like the post, but I just thought he was a little intriguing to think about. Probably for the wager, I would key on the exactas off Do the Roar with those others I like. For the pick 4, I may end up singling Do the Roar just to be able to spread in other places. Let's go to the 9th race, the Claiming Crown Express. It's a sprint, 6 furlongs for 3-year-olds and up. I took at large in here, a little bit of a reach maybe, but Michelle Nehigh claims this horse, and really sharp trainer in the claiming game. And, with this day being on the schedule, I think trainers kind of claim horses with this day in mind, with these big purses for claiming horses. They reach out and get Johnny V to ride. Good record at Gulfstream Park. And, you figure a horse that has a good record at Gulfstream Park, so they claim this horse with the idea of running in this spot. So I like the 7 at large. Loverbill intrigues me a lot, too. The horse that loves Gulfstream Park. Looks like that he was freshened for this spot, working lights out. So I like both of those, actually. So for in-race wager, I would probably just, you could bet win bets on both of them if the price is right, or just take the 2 of them on top in an exacta and then key them over. So maybe 7-12 over 7-12, and then I would also throw in the 4 and the 13 on the second line. And probably use all 4 of those in a pick 4, but at large is going to be my win pick. Slight edge over the 12 Loverbill. How about you?
You're in L.A. and I'm in Lexington, so we didn't conspire to do this when we're taping this. But at large, I looked at, but I thought with Michelle getting the gelding for $62.50 last time out, this is a pretty big jump. But the horse was running for $62,000 in August, so she got a bargain at $62.50. So you might be right on track with at large. But I like your horse that you picked second, Loverbill, the 12. Got to avoid a lot of traffic trouble from out there. There's a lot of speed in this race. It's only 6 furlongs. I can see this being a blanket finish with a bunch of horses there. But Lascano is good at positioning a horse, and he could set a good tracking trip, and he comes from off the pace anyway, so I think it sets up well for him. I could make case for the other horses in here, at large the 7, Alfredo Romano the 1, Slan Albali the 4, Disarm the 10. I think you mentioned Big Legacy the 13, and Dodge Private Label the 14. And I would probably go all 6 of those in the pick 4. I'm going to single the last leg of the pick 4, so I would go all 6 of those in here.
10th race is the Claiming Crown Emerald on the turf at a mile and the 16th for 3-year-olds and up. I had real trouble kind of narrowing this down. Who did you land on?
Yeah, I did too. I really started looking at it. I liked the 1, and I liked the 2, and then I liked the 3, and I thought, well, I can't use all of them. I don't have that much money. So I narrowed it down the second time I went through, and I got it down to 4 horses with no real strong opinion on which one's the best of the 4. So I'm just going to tell you the 4 horses I like here. Roman Approval, the 1, seems to take his race with him wherever he goes. He's a model of consistency at Gulfstream, Belmont, Arlington, Kentucky Downs, and Laurel. 3 for 5 at the distance. Gets a Jose Ortiz, got positional speed. Mike Maker's a trainer, so I can make a real case for Roman Approval. He runs between 89 and 95 on the buyer scale every time he goes out, and I think he's very consistent. I don't think the 1 hole really hurts him because Ortiz gets him out pretty well. So like him, I like Yankee Dealer, the 4, who won an optional claimer for $85,000 at Saratoga this summer. So he ran against some nice horses up there. Key to Power, the 10, was competitive in the Grade 3 Tropical Turf at Gulfstream West last time after a couple of minor stakes wins. And Golden Rifle, the 11, you can't toss anything Martin Wolfson comes up with from claiming Crown Day. So it's 4 for 12 at Gulfstream Park, 3 for 5 at the distance. So I like the 1, 4, 10, 11 here. If you made me pick one, I would probably go with Roman Approval simply because of consistency.
I ended up taking a shot on the 9, Dreams Cut Short. This horse was claimed at Saratoga by a sharp Florida-based trainer, so I'm thinking maybe they were pointing for this. Horses run well at Gulfstream, and I read Ortiz takes the mount, so I thought that was intriguing. So for a bit of a price, I like Dreams Cut Short, but certainly by no means a strong opinion there. I like the Petch Chat, the 8. Scrumptious, just the 7, and then 2 of the ones you like, Roman Approval and Yankee Dealer. And I think a 5-horse box of all of those for an exacta wouldn't be a bad way to go. And because I think you might get a decent price in this race. 11th race is the Claiming Crown Jewel. It's the last race on the card, a mile and an eighth for 3-year-olds and up, and kind of the Claiming Crown's version of the Classic. Who did you go for in here?
Okay, I got a single left because I'm out of money. So Royal Posse, the 11, faced much better in a $300,000 race at Belmont recently. Castellano comes in to ride this one, 3 for 6 at the distance with buyers going up, second off a short layoff, and Rudy Rodriguez. So I'm gonna say Royal Posse. This one was a little easier for me to handicap, and I may be completely wrong, but I think Royal Posse stands out here. Internally, I would take a look at Mal Guapo, who's a speedster but drew the 14 hole, which isn't going to help him from out there. The last 3 races, 2 of them at Keeneland, he went wire to wire at a mile and 3/16 and a mile and a quarter. But he was on the inside. He was in the 1 hole both times, so the 14 hole is a big strike against him here, I think. Mr. Palmer, the 12, Endicott, the 9, Lieutenant Shawnee O all finished together in a good allowance at Laurel last out, so I could all throw them in there underneath Royal Posse. And Rich Daddy, the 8, loves Gulfstream Park, but 0 for 2 at the distance. So that would be my ones under Royal Posse, but I would take a stand in the pick 4 with the 11 Royal Posse.
I ended up going for Lieutenant Shawnee O in here. Mike Maker usually points for this day and has several horses ready, so I think this horse is going to do well. Best buyer figure on his page was last time out, a 91, and he was wide in that race, so not a great trip. Now he gets the 1 hole, and he's got some experience at the distance, so I like the 1 Lieutenant Shawnee O. African Fighter for Pletcher, just the fact this horse had the best buyer in his last race, and then Pletcher ships him down for this. It's not, Pletcher's main deal to come in to fire big at the Claiming Crown, so that intrigued me a little bit that he's sending down this horse. The 11, certainly worth a mention. The 10, Freestyle, but I tend to go against those outside posts in these 2-turn races at Gulfstream. The 5, the 8 intrigued me a little bit, but I would key off the 1, I think, and then use him with 3, 11, 10, 8, 5 as far deep as you wanted to go on that, but just keying on Lieutenant Shawnee O is going to be my pick. For the pick 4, I'm going to use Do the Roar, and I'm going to include El Botas, a second horse in that first leg, but I like Do the Roar a lot. Then I want to use At Large and Lover Bill in the second leg, so that's 2 by 2. Then I want to use all 5 horses in the third leg, so that gets me to a $20 ticket for $1. And then I think I'm going to take Lieutenant Shawnee O, African Fighter, and Royal Posse, those 3, in the last leg. So 2 by 2 by 5 by 3 for me in the pick 4. How about you?
So you spent the same $60 I'm going to spend, a little bit differently though. First leg I'm going to go 2, 7, 9, 10, and Do the Roar would be my top pick there, the 7. Second leg I'm going to go all 6 of the horses I talked about earlier, and that'd be 1, 4, 10, 12, 13, 14, with the 1, 2, 4, 10, 11, and singling the 11 Royal Posse in the last, and that's the same $60, but you're kind of front-loaded here with a single horse in the end. So if you got some guts, maybe you could play it that way.
Fun handicapping day, and make sure you don't you keep enough funds in your Keeneland Select account to play throughout the day, because there's a lot of good opportunities on this Claiming Ground card. Best of luck. That's for Jim Goodman. I'm Tom Leach, and this is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.